Hello. I decided to do a vlog because life. I'm really loving kind of doing more stuff on YouTube. I have to say, loving doing all the playthroughs. I'm glad you guys are really enjoying them. Do hit me up with anything else you want me to play. Apart from CSGO, because generally if someone calls me a bitch, I don't really, no, not gonna happen. Sorry about that. Actually, no, I'm not sorry. I basically wanted to kind of talk about, like, you know, I was in America and then I was in Canada, and so much stuff happened. I can't really get my head around everything that happened, and I thought it'd be kind of cool to do a bit of a vlog and explain a little bit about what was going on. I don't have to explain what E3 is to you guys, but it was amazing. I basically got to juggle two really cool jobs, which was, you know, making content for the BBC for Radio 1's iPlayer channel, which is great. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. Just type in E3 iPlayer and it'll come up. And obviously doing the Xbox daily live at E3, obviously with Larry Herb, AC Bongos, Graham Boyd, my Scottish brother, and of course Jessica Chobot as well. That was also amazing. And then I did a TED Talk, all in about, I think it was 2 weeks. I'm not altogether sure what just happened. I've been a bit offline this week, mainly because jet lag, and I just actually can't function at the moment. I'm struggling to get up out of bed. It wasn't so bad, but just enough to kind of make it a little bit annoying. All of the things that happened, the E3 things. I mean, E3, I don't know if any of you guys have ever been there before, but it is an onslaught of informations, like all just like pow, like in your face. And as much as, you know, when you watch all the kind of feed from home, you think, oh, that's a lot of information. It's worse when you're there, because you're at conferences and you're taking notes, and then you sort of come out and you're like, I don't know what just happened, I blacked out, what's going on? And then everyone's like, what's your favourite game? And I'm like, I can't remember anything. Oh, lack of anything. I can now, sort of. I was juggling, you know, working for the BBC, so running around kind of doing interviews and bits with them, and then flying off in the afternoon to go and do the Xbox daily live at E3, which was amazing. BBC stuff is super cool. Like, they are so keen to push forward gaming. The BBC Sport thing we did with the League of Legends quarterfinals won like a digital broadcast award for like best live event or something, which is beat like Glastonbury and things like that, which is amazing, because winning awards means that they're like, if we do gaming, we might win some awards, and then they make more stuff. So win, 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 boom, boom, boom. Loving that. So yeah, the BBC stuff is amazing. So it's kind of half with the Newsbeat team, half with Radio 1 kind of team, and yeah, it's just really cool. You know, like working for BBC is actually kind of awesome. Everyone's just so collaborative and just wants to make the best content, and you kind of sit down, and so many times being a presenter in other jobs that shall remain nameless, you kind of sit down and pitch your ideas and they're like, yeah, just shut up, read what's on the bit of paper. And like, I know my staff, you know, and it's nice to sort of, this sounds so lame, but it's really nice to have your opinion listened to, and honestly, it doesn't happen that much in life, sadly. No one really listens to you. I don't know if it's just being female. I mean, I've only ever been a woman, so I don't really know. I don't know if a guy, you're just completely ignored at the same time. But you always feel like it's something to do with that, because if a guy speaks, then it's like everyone sort of listens, or they sort of just rephrase what you said, and they're like, that's an amazing idea. And you're like, I'm sure I just said that, but maybe I'm imagining it. So yeah, working with the BBC is ace. We've got some amazing ideas of stuff that I want to do in the future. I didn't tell you that. We're trying for like all this really, really cool stuff, and they're keen, they're really keen, and we're kind of making content that hasn't been made before. It's similar, but it's not quite at the same pitch level, you know, like Specialist is super catered for, and we want to kind of get the people who are like in that in-between kind of casual hardcore level, where maybe they only buy FIFA or maybe only Call of Duty, like stuff like that. But let's tell them about The Witcher and get them playing that. Because it's cool. It kind of feels like fresh meat to the grinder, like more gamers. And more gamers is better for everybody. It's like more gamers means more games, which means more diverse games, which means more money in the pot, which means more money for all of it, which just means it's just going to grow and get bigger. And soon we will all be kings on a glorious throne. And people will bring us gifts of hopefully biscuits. I sometimes wonder, my brain, what it's doing. So, right, BBC equals awesome, in conclusion. That took me 5 minutes to say that. But, and then doing a, thanks, truck outside, then doing an Xbox Daily Live, that was just great. And I've done the live stream before with Larry and with Graham at Gamescom. And so it was a real honour to do it on E3 because that's like global, whereas like Gamescom is Europe, and you know it's like, oh, it's Europe, but it's like global. So that was really, really cool. And first time I met Jessica Chobot, so that was also ace to kind of nerd out. She's a super nerd, love it. And just hang out with Larry, who's like hilarious to work with, really, really funny, and Graham, who is just so wonderful. I love that guy to bits, like never not funny and or awesome and wonderful. And we ended the whole live stream. I don't know if you watched all the live stream because obviously it was over 2 days, but we got to end the second day, me and Graham doing the outro link, and then we ended on a sea shanty. And Graham made a joke about us. You touched my booty, and then the camera cut from the live stream. Like that was the last thing anyone heard was they touched my booty from Graham, which I thought was quite funny. So that's cool. And then, so all that running around, another day working for the BBC, then kind of had to go to Canada, and then hadn't really had enough time to prep my TED Talk. Not that there's any pressure doing a TED Talk or anything. I mean, no one watches, right? It's fine. And then, like, got there, freaked the heck out. Okay, if I do a presenter's job, when I turn up for that job, I know it inside and out. Right? Because it's what you do, that's, you're professional, you know your stuff, there's a script or whatever. Sometimes you turn up and then they give you a script, which is stressful. But, you know, generally speaking, you turn up, and I did start doing my talk in front of like a few people, but they were like looking at me while I was doing it, and it was really distracting, because I don't like eyes, because you're just doing it out, so it's different. And I was ballsing it up. And then I freaked out, I was like, oh God. I did that whole thing, you know, where you imagine getting on stage and then you forget everything and everyone laughs at you. That. I'm like, dude, you're a presenter, suck this up. You better be okay at it. Because what happened in between was I had rented this really beautiful apartment. It's a beautiful apartment. Because where we were staying at with the BBC was just depressing. And yeah, I couldn't run lines in there. Because the talk's 15 minutes, right? So even just to run it a couple of times with a few mess ups is like an hour and then you get tired and then you just want to break. So I thought, I'll get a really nice apartment. So I won't leave the apartment, I won't get distracted, and I can just run my TED Talk. And I was just pacing around this apartment, like, yeah, for 2 days and eating takeaway. Except I could see like a pool from every window, which was distracting. And I was like, I could be outside, it's really hot. Damn it, stupid TED Talk. But anyway, I kind of got it down, and then anyway, I went to Canada, ran it, freaked out, then just ran it. And basically when you learn stuff like that, I mean the longest I ever learned for work is maybe like a minute, and that's a link. And then sometimes it's word for word, sometimes you can kind of paraphrase and stuff like that. But, so you learn it, and then you learn like the next one, so it's all like quite segmented. But this was like 15 minutes straight, man, and you don't get cue cards, there is no auto cue, there is nothing, it's just you and whatever slide you're talking about for 15 minutes, and you got to keep to time, and it's got to be really succinct, and you've got to stick to a script. It's basically presenter nightmare 101, you know, like awful, because you're like, so many things could go wrong, right? And then you basically run it and you run it and you run it, and you have to run it to the point where cutting it up into sections is really good, but you run it to a point where you don't really think about it anymore, and the words just kind of come out your mouth, and then you're like, okay, now I'm at the point where I feel like I can tell myself, you know it. And then every time the kind of doubt comes into your head, you have to just be like, shut the hell up, brain, you little bitch. You don't know me, I know this stuff, right? I know it. And you just gotta say, I know it. And it's almost like CBT, like cognitive behavioral therapy, where it comes into your head and you're like, no. And you have to become aware of these negative thoughts coming into your head, and they come into your head, and then you just go cut them right off. You're like, I'm not even gonna follow this down a path, shut up. Or distract yourself, go do something else and just cut it off. It's like interrupting a really annoying person all the time. Because really, your brain is a little bitch that likes to just feed your mind with crappy nonsense to make you feel awful about yourself. I don't know why it does it. Maybe that's just me. Maybe it's someone who has depression. I don't know if everyone suffers from this, but it's just a bitch. So don't listen to it a lot of the time because it talks nonsense. So then, yeah, you're like, shut up, shut up, shut up. And then, oh my God. And then I was the second one on, and they had like one mic or something, which was really weird. So the first guy came off, they took out his Madonna mic thing, and then they're putting it on me, and they're doing this introduction, and then she's like said my name, and I'm supposed to be on stage, and I'm like, oh, this is like microphone. Some guy goes hand down my top, like sorting this thing out, and I like run on stage, and I'm like, oh, hello, and then just sort of did it. It was, I do remember feeling quite relaxed on stage. I quite enjoy being on stage. Is that weird now? I kind of feel quite chilled about it, and I talk really quickly, as you might know, and I find it very hard because I get really excited. It's not really nerves. Well, I suppose maybe it is nerves, but I get really excited, and then I'm like, and then I talk to people, and even like my really good friends are, I have to really look at your mouth sometimes to understand what you're saying because you talk too quickly. So it's a problem. So I've kind of learned to like chill out a little bit, just take a breath and relax and kind of enjoy it. There's that famous like really good Bill Murray quote about, you know, as soon as you kind of start relaxing and work, you start to really enjoy it and you do a better job. So I think about that a lot. And then I skipped a couple bits out of the talk that I was gonna talk about, but then I didn't. And then I came off stage and I was like, don't freak out about it, because you freak out about it, then you forget everything that you're gonna say. So I came off stage and I was like, first thing I said to all the guys from TED, I was just like, did any of that make sense? Because I don't really remember anything. And they were like, no, it made sense. And I was like, oh good, I'm glad. And yeah, there was like 1,300 people there, which is a lot of people. And yeah, I'll definitely link it when it goes up so you guys can see it. But wow, I mean, you know, the whole point of doing it was to do something that absolutely kind of terrified me. And although I'm a presenter, that's what I do, this is way out of my comfort zone. Because, you know, the basis of the talk was talking about how sexism and misogyny affects everyone regardless of your gender. So how, as a man, kind of sexism towards women and misogyny affects you in your life, because it does. And it was just another kind of viewpoint on how it all works and why we should kind of work to get rid of it because it affects everybody, etc., etc. And it was all very lighthearted. It wasn't, you know me, and it was all kind of centered around the blog, Misogyny Monday, It's out of my comfort zone, and you feel sometimes as a woman talking about sexism and misogyny that people are kind of looking for you to fail a little bit. But one of the best lines in it that I kind of came up was, I tweeted something similar the other day, was about how like sexism and like racism, stuff like that, are basically like a kind of malware that sort of runs in the background of everything. I don't think people really realise that they are being sexist or racist. And like, I'm not having a go, because we're all pre-programmed with all of this weird stuff from outside sources, things we see on TV, magazines, the way people talk, the way people act around you, like all of these things feed in like drip effect, these little things, you know, that affect our behaviour and we don't even realise. So the premise of the talk was just like, let's just be open to the fact that our behaviour is affected, and as a woman my behaviour is affected towards men as well, and I want to be more aware of that. Anyway, I'll link you, it's fine. But you know, it was just, yeah, just big really. You know, and I felt so great after doing it. And I'm a firm believer in, I mean, when I got offered to do the talk, the idea of it terrified me. And that just made me want to do it, because I think, honestly, if something absolutely terrifies you, you should just do it. 100%. Because every other stress in your life gets turned down. Nothing is as stressful as that. And if you nail that and you make it your bitch, then everything else is completely obtainable and much less stressful. It's like your range of stress gets reset. And it's a good thing to have, because you know that if you can handle that pressure, if you can do it, and the thing is, you can do it, absolutely can do it. Anyone can do it. Anybody can do it. You just gotta wanna do it. And make sure you have all the right skills in place to be able to do it. And whether that's, you know, and like a lot of the other guys who are doing the talks, they aren't presenters and they nailed it. You know, it's just about being passionate and coming across, talking about your subject and wanting to talk about it. So anyone can do these things. You gotta make a commitment, freak the hell out for like a little while, do some work, freak out again, do a bit more work, have a smaller freak out, do a bit more work, then have a really big freak out the day before, and then you do it, and then you're like, yeah, boom, I done that, I did it. I don't know. I've just been walking around like strutting about since I came back, like I've always pushed myself to do stuff that I'm scared of, and things are always a compromise, and I tend to judge myself by my own personal best. So if I was very, very terrified to do something and then the end result wasn't amazing, I choose to be impressed by the fact that I chose to do it. Yeah, it could be better, but I don't care about that. I made the leap to try and do it, and next time I'll do it better. You know, and so maybe by other people's standards, that particular thing wasn't great, but I know that was great for me. I know that was an achievement for me, and like, you know what, F everybody else, because it's all about the PB, right? It's all about your personal best, and you know what limits you have, etc., etc. So for me, this was like the one time I was really, really nervous. All I was like was just do my personal best. But then actually my personal best was the best version that it could be. Like more than, no, it wasn't just my personal best, it was the best. Does that make sense? Like by other people's standards, it was the best, and actually it was my personal best as well. Does that make sense? So I feel really like, yeah. I don't know, it's not often in life you can buzz yourself about your own life. That's why you gotta do this stuff. Anyway, I've waffled on for ages and ages and ages. So I'm back, hello again. Doing more stuff with Radio 1, doing more loads of everything. But I really like vlogging. I think after doing that end of year vlogalypse, it was really fun. And it seemed to engage with a lot of people. And I think what I do is a bit weird. And it's interesting, well, it interests me anyway. So I guess if you want to know more about what it's like being a presenter who is a bit of a nerd, I'm your girl, a little bit. So yeah, anyway, I'm going to do more vlogs. I'm going to stop talking now, because yeah, let's try and keep it under 20 minutes this time. I'll try. So, I might do some that are thematic. I might just talk about random stuff that happens in my life. I don't know yet. I'm figuring all this stuff out as I go along, as I think of things. So if there's anything you'd like me to do a vlog about, hit me up in the comments below. If there's anything that you've seen on like socials, or things that I've done, or jobs that I've done that you would like to hear more about, or you want to do presenting or working gaming, I don't know, whatever it is, let me know. And I'll try and make some videos for yours. How do you end these? Just go like a Muppet exit. Yeah.